I just started burping as the thing started coming through. Like the gas from the beer was just like too much for me to handle. You okay, mate? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I love the fact that I've just realised that in that intro, the clothes I'm wearing are actually pajamas.
Are they?
It's like everybody knows my secret now. I only wear pajamas. That's it.
Well, should we show them the other secret? Should we get the dad slippers out for everyone?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
That's
Let's do a
fucking
foot
important.
reveal. Everybody's here for this, right? For nothing else other than the slippers.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look, I've even got slipper socks on under the slippers.
Mate, that's excessive. It's May.
Yeah.
It's nearly June.
Yeah. Well, this is how I roll. I mean, they don't call me Gary for nothing.
Hey, Jesus Christ. How you keeping? You well?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
We
Yeah.
basically did a podcast, didn't we, prior to this? I think we were just chatting shit because we haven't actually spoken in ages. So.
That was the best podcast we've ever done. It's like the Tenacious D song tribute.
Yeah.
Like we're going to talk about how good that podcast was. It was the best podcast that has ever been made, and nobody in the world is going to be able to listen to that now.
And then Gorney's in the chat saying that it'll eat your soul. So that was accurate.
You know what? Gorney's sour, right? I don't want to dump all over the chat right now straight away, but basically I built a wall through his Minecraft house and forcefully evicted him.
Did he deserve it though?
Not really, no.
Okay, I'm sure he's going to be absolutely chuffed by that. He said beer and then nom. So what beer are you drinking there, Gaz?
I'm worried because he's the nom about the slipper socks. I am drinking the delightfully terrible Camden Pale Ale. It's fantastic. If you probably want to stay on the toilet all of tomorrow or sleep with a sick bucket next to you. What are you drinking, Dan?
I'm drinking Disco Forklift Truck, which is equally as warm, and that's a mango pale ale, and it does taste like piss now because it's warm. It's fantastic when it's cold though.
I would love to see what a disco forklift truck actually looks like. Like, I've seen the taxis when they've got the disco ball in, the lights. That's really cool. But a forklift truck, I can't imagine that being any sort of like health and safety passable thing.
It sounds like one of those things like somebody in school would say, just Google disco forklift truck. And then you do it, and it's just like someone's bell ends bright purple or something. And then you're like,
come on, guys. It'll be on rathergood.com.
Yeah.
Next to the cats who scream at the moon.
Shut up and play Miniclip. You've got an Xbox there, mate. I'm going to call you out on that as well. And
yeah.
Just remind me again what you said was the game that you booted up on it.
So yeah, I've got one of the most powerful console on the market, right? Capable of 4K, 8K. Some people say. I don't know. At some point, it more frames than any of my TVs can handle. Ray tracing the lot, beautiful, more powerful than my PC. And for the last 2 weeks, mate, I've been putting it to its limits, testing how good the cooling system is in it by playing Minecraft.
Nice.
That's it. Just Minecraft.
Immortalized forever on pod services and YouTube. That is Gary admitting to the fact that it's the most powerful console in the world, and he's playing Minecraft. Anything else loaded on it, or is it just Minecraft?
Yeah, I've got Fortnite.
Have you got Fortnite as well? Like,
I haven't played Fortnite on it, probably because I kind of hate Fortnite, but everybody plays it, so you kind of have to have it.
You don't hate Fortnite.
I kind of do. I do at the minute. It has its moments. It has brilliant seasons, and it has absolute utter crap seasons. And I think he's going through a bad one again.
I'm I'm all right with this one. I think the last one was shite. The like the spy one.
Yes, the spy one was terrible. Yeah,
that was bad. All off it because I think we were all playing at that point, and then it was just like water everywhere. There was random sharks and spies, and I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, because I was playing that with you for a while, right? I jumped into a couple of matches here and there. Yeah. But no, I've got Game Pass yet to activate on it because it's an all access one. I'm just waiting for like that killer game to come out before I launch the Game Pass because it's got a 2-year thing on it. So I'm like, if I wait as long as I can, maybe I'll get some better games at the tail end.
Yeah, Paul's just said put Mario Maker on it. So
that's all that Paul Lloyd plays, though, right?
That's just him, isn't it? I think I've seen him somewhere before. I don't know where, but I'm sure he's playing an Xbox. So what are you playing at the moment, other than Minecraft?
Minecraft. I play Minecraft on the Switch. I play Minecraft on PC. Minecraft on Xbox.
Is it just like a comfort game for you? Is it something that you just banging your head into, and it's just something to wind down with?
You have a way of hitting the nail on the head sometimes. You know that. Yeah, it's comfort. It's a comfort food game. The best thing is about Minecraft for me is that I haven't really played it. Like I've spent so many
Okay.
hours on it, just building in the main area where you start. I haven't beat any bosses on it. I've never rolled credits on the game. I've barely ever like, for those who are familiar with Minecraft, never even really been in the Nether. Like I just
Okay.
booted up, dig some holes, build a castle. That's it. That's comfort food all the way. It's either that or it's Link's Awakening for the millionth time. But yeah, I mean, Minecraft's comfort food. At the minute I'm playing Forza Horizon 4. I've got it
Mm.
booted up on the new Xbox, just not tried it on that yet. But I've got One S as well.
Okay.
Other than that, I went through a very bad addiction of Monster Hunter. I've just
Oh
weaned
shit.
myself off that for a bit. Um,
Many hours?
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean,
How many hours?
Monster.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many I've done on Rise, but I had a really bad addiction to Monster Hunter when it launched on the Wii U. I did
Oh,
like
okay.
probably about 500 hours over the Wii U and the 3DS.
Which version was that?
3 Ultimate.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Seems to
was.
really get people going. Like I had it, and it's gonna make you feel sick. I've still got the Steelbook, but I traded it in without even playing it because I was just like, I bought this because of FOMO.
Ah,
I
that
know.
was a mistake. You should have played it at
I
least
know. I
for a
know.
bit.
Stop being sensible. That would have been the sensible thing to have done, rather than just losing like £7 or whatever it was that I did in collateral. But yeah, I mean,
I did the opposite to you. I'll get rid of the Steelbooks. I don't like. I know it sounds weird because I've got loads of gaming tat behind me, but I don't like tat. Like I don't like being surrounded by steelbooks, posters, key rings. Oh, it drives me nuts. Like I would go all digital if digital was cheaper,
yeah, yeah.
but the like yeah, because I just don't like having stuff around me. Like this is literally like a junk room that I'm in
Mm.
at the house. Like this is the house. This is the room where everything gets dumped. That like
Including you. Yeah.
yeah, including me. The Barbie Dreamhouse, guitar, piranha plant. What else is there? A bike.
See a Zelda amiibo in the back, is it? Link one, should say.
Oh yeah, it's one of those light up things, and a
Oh, okay.
Mario cushion there as well. It's a bit dark for people. I don't know if you can see that.
That's plenty. It's good. Mine's
But
literally the opposite way around. It's not behind me, it's in front of me. And
yeah,
how Sophie's still with me, I don't know. It's just like the bare naked Kratos on the side there with a child next to him, which is his child. So it's that point. But she's like, "Why is there a man with a child?" I'm like, "Well, it's the metaphor of parenthood," and she's just like, "Just get rid of it, please." Like, I'm having my mates around in a couple of weeks. Disgraceful. Carl's has spotted my bike in the back as well, which I've not even been on yet. I've been on it once, and me bum it. So I'm being on it. But definition of lazy, I think. So not great. Not
I'm
great.
impressed that you managed to ride it onto the wall like that. It's just
Crashed it, didn't I?
yeah, it's just amazing to be honest.
Uh,
I
it's
mean,
like,
it is weird. Like the gamer thing, you know, there's a couple of tropes which I always say that I don't fall into. One is the RGB lighting, and then I'm sat here with blue LEDs behind me. Um, but I can't stand stuff like flashing and lighting up. Like I like space. Like if it was
yeah,
completely up to me and this wasn't like a family room, this would be empty.
yeah.
Like it'd be completely empty. Like, you know, like Amiibo was
Minimalist.
a bad thing I went through, but I've recovered from the Amiibo thing.
It's weird with like what we're all into, like the kind of phases that you go through with it. Because I think
Hmm.
we've always spoke online a couple of times. I think where one of us is having a bad, rough kind of patch of like
Oh yeah,
can't be arsed gaming or can't be arsed doing X, Y, and Z. Like I'll in those moments, I'll not play a lot of games, but I'll buy a lot of tat for
yeah,
games. And it's like, why am I doing this? And I'll know I'm doing it. My bank balance will know I'm doing it. It's just like even the missus knows I'm doing it. She's like following the bank balance. But have you been similar over lockdown? Have you kind of had that moment where you've just not played games for a couple of months and then
yeah.
fucked it
I go
off?
through that a lot. I go through it a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I think that one of the things that like doesn't get talked about too much is how much creating content can really weigh you thin. And like, it might seem a bit of a strange thing to say because I'm not really about that much
Mm.
anyway. But realistically, if you put in like my original YouTube channel, I've probably been doing it for like 7 years, eight
Mm.
years, maybe longer than that. From animations to music to all sorts of stuff. And you just get worn down every once in a while.
Yeah.
And especially now that the internet is more crowded, it's more people doing it. and there seems to be more of a bad attitude at times as well.
Mm.
And you can get into this like rat race of content covering.
Mm.
And I had a massive burnout like last year. Like
Yeah.
I went the whole year pretty much without playing anything. No, sorry, not last year, year before. Um, and I still brought games. I still brought like Astral Chain, Daemon X Machina, loads of the Switch games because I was covering a lot of Switch stuff.
Mm.
And then I just didn't play anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead, I was getting home and putting a bit of Duran Duran on and sitting in the darkness drinking. But just that is a joke, by the way.
It was
Pet Shop
the
Boys.
Clash. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry
the
for that.
Clash,
Yeah.
that's what I meant. The Clash, yeah.
It's fucking hard, mate. It's really hard, and I'm similar to you. I'm not like about that much. I don't do that much content, but because the pressures in like your day-to-day life, sometimes
Oh
it
yeah.
can make it feel like a job. And I think when you've been in work all day, or like you've done an extra couple of hours or whatever it might be, and then it just takes one little thing to happen at home, and then that throws the evening into doubt. You don't really want to pick up a controller, and so what we were saying before, you kind of lean into comfort food games, or you just kind of jib it off completely.
And the best thing is as well when you're on about the bank balance and buying gaming stuff. I went through that really bad.
Mm.
Probably around the Wii DS, 3DS era.
Right. Okay.
Now, like I said, I don't like so much tat. I've stopped buying games unless I actually think I'm going to play them, and instead I've just turned to regular food. So, for those of you asking, almost a D cup. I'm getting there.
You don't look bad, mate. You look fine for it.
No, I went through a period of exercising very, very, very regularly last year, dieting, all that sort of stuff. Things changed again, so I haven't been doing it for the last probably 4 or 5 months. I haven't really exercised too much.
Yeah.
That's basically because the whole homie thing and the whole pandemic, because it shook the family up quite a bit. It shook my work up. It shook like my other half got made redundant, and so we had a bit of a rough time with that, right? All that time, including the burnout of not playing games and stuff. I was doing open university, which is shite, and it amounts to something, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
eventually collects together, and it all becomes something bad. And so, like, she was hunting for another job, ended up getting a caring job, but they were like messing her about with money because of moving around and stuff. I quit university because I just literally couldn't do it anymore. It was too much with work and parenthood, and then the other half was at the house. So I was on my own with daughter and all that sort of stuff. And I've been exercising for the past few months because the other half's got a new job and she works late, so it's just me and the daughter. But what it does mean is that we have extra time to bond as just father and daughter. And so she is now obsessed with Minecraft.
Oh, right. Okay.
How about that? How about that?
And you're
How
into
did that
Ken
happen?
dolls. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the opposite
I
way
mean,
around.
I came back today from work and she was literally somebody else is in the house. By the way, it's not just that she walked back from school. She's 6-year-old walked back from school and she had snuck my 2DS out of the drawer and she was playing
Nice.
Oral Warriors.
Okay.
And I walked in. I was like, "What have you done?" And she's like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "No, you're playing Horror Warriors. It's fine. Like, carry on, please."
Could be a scumbag like Ben who lets his kid play Bloodborne. That was disgraceful.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgraceful. Now, I think from my kind of like my 2 pence of it over lockdown was exactly the same. Like it's like my missus was furloughed. Said luckily with my job it kept on going, but even then, like the pressure of just everything being locked down, and all of the added emotional weight of catching a virus that could potentially off you if you're a certain weight or whatever it might be, and your BMI is fucked, which I think you and I probably have touched on over the last like year.
Yeah, I mean, it hit close to home for us as well because we actually lost somebody at work,
Oh, mate.
and he seemed fit and healthy. Saw him on the Friday, and by the Monday he was gone. And I went through a stage of like really bad paranoia after that. Like so much hand sanitizer. Like
Yeah, it's like Howard Hughes
all the
shit,
time,
just
like, yeah.
constantly cleaning. Yeah.
It's like every time somebody come near to me, I was like, sanitize the
Yeah.
face off and like
Hissing at them.
yeah. But it was like this is what I mean. Like last year was a really weird year, right? Like, and it's still weird now, but it's not as I mean, we're kind of more used to it in a way anyway.
Mm.
But last year was so doomsday. Like everything was bad news, right? The
Yeah.
news was all bad. There was hardly any entertainment coming out. You couldn't go to the cinema. You couldn't go and eat out. And like, I feel like I've actually been really fortunate in a way because we bounced back. Like,
Mm.
yeah, I gave up uni. Yeah, I didn't play so much games, all that sort of stuff. But as a family, we've been good through it all.
Mm.
I know that a lot of other people really haven't, and like it just kind of you have to step back and see it from a
Mm.
bigger picture, right? I mean, we've got mutual contact who passed away as well. Rest
Mm.
his soul, Bobby, and it's kind of um, it's kind of eye opening to see exactly how much people mean to other people as well,
You
right?
must have felt a little bit like relatable to that because, like I said, when we were talking a couple of times, and you were having a rough time of it. You were always really positive, even though like you were having a rough time and you were kind of coming across in that way. Whenever I'd speak to you, you'd be like, "Mate, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm good. I'm all right. It's tough at the moment." And I think it's that point, isn't it? If you're all kind of reflecting on what's important, but at the same point, you have to be quite selfish around your family and go like, this is everything at the moment. I'm not bringing an income in. I'm worried about the bills. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm worried about the health of everyone in this family. And then, again, just kind of like capitalize on, not capitalize, but to compound that feeling. Like, see people like Bobby pass away and you go, fucking hell, like, that could be anyone. It could be anyone that we're
Yeah,
close to. And yeah, that weight of it all, like that kind of like dread, it was fucking horrible. And it
yeah,
is,
yeah.
does seem to be like dissipating a little bit, like relaxing. A lot more people seem to be healthier than where they were mentally, I think. Have you found yourself kind of coming out the other side a little bit stronger or a bit more direction?
I genuinely have like a couple of swings every now and again where I'll be in feeling rough. Say, I
Hmm.
had one earlier this week. Just woke up feeling terrible. I actually put it down to hay fever though. I didn't actually take that as a factor either because the pollen has been utter crap in this area, and that does affect me a lot. I get like really hazy and sort of sleepy and don't want to talk to anybody unless I have the old Tesco one a day, and then I'm a fighting fit for the rest of the time after that. But in general, yeah, I think the one thing that it's done is sort of um, made me appreciate internet friends a lot more as
Yeah.
well. And not just because of losing Bobby, but Bobby did have a big factor in it as well because
Hmm.
I'd known the guy for gotta be like 6 years,
Wow. Okay.
probably about that.
It's
Like,
about 2 or 3 for myself, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was there before he was doing the Nintendo Guru thing and stuff like that, and it's sort of like we had our times where we would have a tiff at each other, right? I was there when he was going through his like he had quite a bad patch. Don't want to talk about the details
Hmm.
of it. Um, and he was really snappy at me then, but it's obvious once you've got past it and we actually found out what was going on
Hmm.
that it was just pressures of real life, right? And we make up, and then you have a little tiff, and that's the cycle of being friends, right? You never have a friend, you never have every friend perfect with them all the time. I know that sounds a little bit broken English. I have had a couple of cans, but
Warm cans.
like yeah, one really small can. But you can't have a perfect friendship all the time with everyone. Um, but you always have to bounce back and cherish the good in it all,
Hmm.
really, because you never know when something like this might happen, and you might live in regret if you left off on the bad point, like the really bad, like I hate your guts, I never want to see you anymore. I never said that to anybody, by the way,
Yeah.
but if that was the last thing that you ever said to somebody you actually had a deep down respect for, you would end up eating that for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah. Amen. It's a really good way of putting it, mate. And I think, like I said, the 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 impact of internet friends, and it's such a weird phrase to kind of say that because I don't really like think of like yourself or all my like group of the cross players guys, like as internet friends and all the guys in the groups that we've got. But it's you don't know what they're doing for 20 hours of that day in terms of the struggles that they've got all you're really talking about is this lovely, fluffy video game nonsense that we're all bought
Yep.
into. Then the occasional chick that decides to sell a bathwater and everyone's just bitching about it on WhatsApp, which is fantastic. But the struggles that people go through, like, they're equally as challenging as what your mates, like, you actually really know, might go through.
Yeah.
But over lockdown, like, I think the relationships with, like, all the guys, like Ben, Andrew, I need to mention them all now. I can't just mention two, but like the way that Max, Nate, everyone like rallied around each other at times, and we all fluxed. And it was probably because we all had like moments when we were having a really, really tough time. But ultimately, it always ended in, yeah, we're there for each other, sending each other fucking parcels through the post, like care packages. And Soph was just like, what the fuck have you been sent? So Ben bought me a game because I was doing my own podcast, and you've saying congratulations. And it's just all of this kind of lovely, warm, like, digital cuddles that we were getting from people. But I'm guessing you must have had the same as well with like your kind of clique. I know they're all in the fucking chat, so
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, everybody's here to spam this chat right now.
Amen.
Hi, Gorney. Hi, Paul. But yeah, I mean, the term internet friends is a terrible term, right? I agree with that, but it's really hard to describe it as any other sort of friendship because we are all friends, but we don't see each other. That's the thing, right? Like, I met you in person before I met you through the internet, right?
Yep.
That was at EGX. You said hello to Justin.
Yep, that was the first time. One
So,
or two. Yeah.
And it's the same with a lot of other people as well. And some people I have just met through the internet, but I've then met them in real life, and it's like, well, what do you class as internet friend? But it's really hard it's just easy to define somebody as that, right? But yeah, we've sort of, everybody does. Like, if you have a bad moment and you post some cryptic stuff on Twitter, I hate doing it myself, but I just find myself doing it every once in a while. You get flooded in your inbox of like support, and if you can't see the good in that, then it's really something wrong, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, but yeah, I mean, I think the lockdowns had the effect on everybody, and I think that like everybody does rally together, and it's really cool. And like the best thing about being in sort of, I mean, I don't podcast anymore, right?
Yeah.
Since I left Nintendo Dads, which was, I think it was October last year. I want to say October, July, Octoberish. I
remember you dropping off around about then, yeah.
And like, for me personally, it's just not a format that like I wanted to create anymore. It's just the timekeeping, and you know, it's great to have like to be on a podcast. I love it. I love talking to people and stuff like that. But there's always the time, right?
Yeah.
The time is the main thing, especially if you're editing afterwards. It's like it takes so much time. But the best thing about being in the circles of podcasters and the circle of content creators is that there's always people who will invite you on shows.
Yeah.
You only have to talk to somebody and they'll invite you on a show. You get to have a nice chat. You get to build a friendship, and then it continues outwards, right? You know, loads of people on and on from that. And I think it's great that people do band together and sort of help each other and stuff every once in a while. There is tit for tat rivalries. It's going to happen. It's a friendship circle again. You know, there's always that sort of thing. But as a whole, like, I actually think that
at one point it was funny because like you guys were like getting big and we were like doing bits as well, and I was like, we should join up, and you were like, I was thinking we should join up, and we were messaging back and forth. And even now I look back thinking, who the fuck did we think we were? Like, so, like some like Wall Street moguls trying to like buy each other out, and it was just literally like, because we were like, really respected like the content I think we were making, and we recognized character wise I think we'd all gel really well, and we were like meshing back and forth, and it was just like, I remember looking back at that going, that's so silly, but yeah, I love Gary to bits. So it was like, fuck it.
It's kind of weird, right? Because like everybody has an independent website. Everybody has a podcast feed. Everybody has a YouTube, and we're all small creators, right? None of us are earning any sort of living from it, and yet, like, I always thought that if we all got together, we could storm IGN's gates and knock them down, and yeah, it probably wouldn't happen because we were, you know, like me, I'm too lazy. That's it.
you were like that. You were, I remember that in the chat group. You're like, yeah, if we all banded together, we could. I was like, I just want you on the podcast, Gary. I just thought it'd be quite funny to have your voice on it. But like massive plans and shit. So how is stuff now with like Nintendo Village? Are you finding a different groove, or is it kind of ebbing a bit? Because we haven't posted on our website for must be about 3 months now, I think. been a while.
Yes. So those who don't really know the backstory, right, which everybody here does, but just in case you don't anyway, I had a podcast called Topic Nintendo, right? So this is pre me and you meeting, so you probably don't know about
I
this.
didn't know about this, no.
So basically, what it was I was listening to IGN's podcast, right, MVC, and I was like, I could do this. And in the forum, on the Facebook account one day, up popped a guy called Mark Carabin who did a podcast called the Walk Whistle podcast with his brother, and I fell in love with his podcast. Like, it was 20 minutes, it was pocket sized. I could listen to it on the way to work because it was a 30-minute walk. It was great, and I was like, do you know what? This is a future podcast, 20-minute podcast. This is exactly the way it needs to go. And I started listening to more and more podcasts and stuff like that. And I got fed up of news, and like I'm still fed up of news now. Like,
What year
gaming
was this,
news.
by the way, ish?
What was that?
What year is it, ish, that you're talking about here? I'm just trying to like reference it based on like...
It was mid Wii U. So you're talking a good 6-7 years ago, probably.
So really when gaming podcasts had just kind
Just started. Yeah.
Okay.
And like, I was listening to more and more podcasts because they were sprouting up, and I was like, man, I'm getting bored of news, gaming news. Like, there's podcasts on news everywhere, so I want to do something topical. And then I was like, well, I'll just call it that, Topic Nintendo. Like, that's an easy name. I'll go with it, whatever. And so I got a bit of help from Bobby and Dave Moore from Dayspace and stuff like that, and ended up starting up this podcast. And the idea was to chat to as many people as I could. They brought a topic, I brought a topic every time we recorded, did 15 minutes of each topic, mixed it, or 10, 15 minutes, mixed it together with different people every week. So like, even if I say recorded 4 topics with you, it would only be one week, and then so on. And like, artificially grew the podcast with minimal effort.
Like it? Yeah, it's good.
And I met this guy called Phil Miff through the Nintendo UK community on Facebook.
Yep.
He blue shelled my brother to bits on Mario Kart, and I was like, I need to contact this guy. So I did.
Who is this
I contacted him. I was like, thanks for blowing the shit up out my brother. I appreciate it. Shall we podcast? And so he jumped on my podcast, and like we clicked. We sort of we had the same sort of mindset. We wanted to do the same things. And then we started the Nintendo Village. We had a website just to host the podcast, and then we never did the podcast. We ended up doing the website instead. And then because we were doing like newsy stuff and game coverage of a lot of indies, and back then, like that was the first burnout I had.
Yeah.
The very first burnout I had. And then it just rolled, and I kept getting burnt out.
Just to partly pause you a second there, is that because you weren't doing the podcast that you originally wanted to do, when it was almost like you went to do the website then? Because I felt like that. I felt very similar. Like, we've got to have a website. We've got to have the podcast was the thing that Pete and I started with Switch Island, and like, we've got to do this and this. And I got like megalomaniac over it. I was like, we've got to build it. Got 40 people. God, fucking hell, we're gonna have like massive, great big rockets going off every time. We'll go to EGX. We'll do that. It was like, it was too much. And I think in reality, if I kept it quite simple with something that I wanted to do, enjoyed doing prior, I probably wouldn't have burnt out as quick. But yeah, I'm guessing that exactly that. Quite,
yeah, literally exactly the same thing. I think it wasn't so much that we wasn't doing the podcast, but because around the time of starting the website and to do the podcast, I had started growing a little bit tired of that as well. Just because, again, you're up in arms with like millions of podcasters, and growth is terrible. You don't see figures, you don't see interactions, and I was just remember thinking, like, I enjoy talking to people, but I enjoy talking to people to get a response, not just, And podcasting then started feeling like I was talking to the other host and then nothing. There was no interactions and stuff like that. And so we just decided to concentrate on the website, and writing's not really my thing. Like, I didn't do very well at school in English and stuff like that. Barely speak it now. It's my second language. I'm not going to tell you what the first one is.
No, I think the same. I was the same with. Have you ever been let into the joke of like the infamous Mario tennis review that I did?
No, I have
I
not.
did it on a plane, and I think it's still on the website. You can read it yourself if you choose. Probably take you 30 seconds, and it was like 98 words. And I just got really fucking bored and was like, I've got an English degree and I still can't be asked writing.
Yeah.
So yeah, regardless of like the ability to write, it's like, no, this just doesn't really bother me at all. I like doing the website and I like doing the graphics like we spoke about, but yeah, when it came to actually writing shit, I hated it.
Yeah, and
Still do.
it's kind of weird because I joined Nintendo Dads and like I did have a really found my feet loving podcasts again.
Yeah.
And I think that was another thing, like because I was doing two outlets then, it became even more work. And like we did start to have a team growing then, like Nate, obviously,
Hmm.
who was we took along to a few conventions and stuff with us as press and stuff, and like we were getting games and we were getting all the sort of stuff to make the website really good. We'd worked on the graphics and it was all brilliant. And then I just had a second wave of burnout, and this one was like horrendous because I'd started uni then as well. I thought, right, I want to get into some sort of community or marketing. That was my aim.
Yeah. Is
And
that what
then
the degree was in?
everything, yeah, it was it was a strange degree, but yeah, basically, yeah.
Mine was like the same. It was English literature and creative technology, and then I ditched that one in the first year, and then moved on to like pure blood English lit in the second. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm well there with you. Very similar, mate. By the sounds of things.
I mean, just as I was about to start this second wave of burnout, which was the really bad one,
Mm.
I started the second year of uni, and like the first
Yeah.
couple of tasks was like make a duct tape banana, cut some squares out and stick them on your wall. And I just remember getting home like tired from work. I'd stayed up all night like editing a podcast
Mm.
or creating thumbnails and stuff like that, or shooting some videos for Nintendo Dads. And like on Fridays, I was getting up at 3 a.m. to do a podcast with them. And I just remember getting home, like dreaming about just having a nap on the sofa, opening my uni book, and it'd be like, draw a picture of a hand. And I'd be like, you, what? Why are you wasting my time like this for? Undermining me, you god damn it. Like, and yeah, it just got to a point and I was like, nope, done. And honestly, I still kind of haven't recovered from that. Like I've done a
Mm.
few YouTube videos here and there, and like I think the one thing that we really started the website for, and one thing that me and Phil agreed on, was that it was a stepping stone.
Yeah.
So like the idea of it was to grow people, like
Mm.
and if they left, we would never have any hard feelings over it at all. And like it's brilliant because you see like Nathan's gone on to do Switch Player and stuff like that, and like he's really growing. It's brilliant. Like so happy for him in that respect. He's doing what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And Phil got the job at Nintendo,
Yeah.
and
Which
I
is
was
like
like,
the dream, isn't it, for
yeah,
pretty much everyone?
it's the dream for everyone. Like he's gonna know every game that's coming out before us, guys. And like I got asked if it was like a bittersweet feeling, and it never was because
Hmm.
like Phil. I mean, this sounds like almost like gushing, but Phil is probably the most determined, driven, professional,
Hmm.
good-looking, charismatic, good-looking, well-writer, good-looking, good video editor, good-looking guy out there. And so, like, if anybody deserved it, like it was Phil.
He grafted, man. Yeah, he did. You
Like,
both did,
like
like, as in, I know in terms of what Phil was doing was like making a lot of content on the YouTube and putting his heart and soul into it, but like it was a platform that you both created, and I think
yeah,
obviously the impetus to kind of like be amazingly proud of someone that does that is probably more testament to your character than I think it is just to the fact that the guy did really well.
I
Like
mean,
it's a hard thing to be like that.
I think it's a downfall at the same time. Is that I'm always really happy to see other people get what they want.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, well, hang on, yeah,
I'm
I'm still in
absolutely
the
not,
same
by the way.
place.
I'm a fucking narcissist. I'm so jealous of people, like, at the best of times. I get incredibly jealous, and I'm like, I've got no reason to feel that way. Again, I've got a good job, I've got a great family, like, really good social life, and some amazing friends. But yeah, I find it tough. I saw the thing
Yeah.
about Phil. I was like, fucking lucky. But what? How has he done that? How has he? But again, the guy's just worked bloody hard to get to where he
Yeah.
wants to get to, and he had a goal, and he literally executed on it. Like, wow. So yeah.
And so I know it's been a very, very long way of getting around your question, but that leaves the current state of me and Nintendo Village now, because it's me. It's
Yeah.
just me, pretty much, right? We've got a couple of people who are still about in the community there. A couple of people who will still write and review stuff, but like the website, I'm pretty much the only person now who has access to upload stuff. I'm the only person doing stuff on YouTube. And like, even though I've got this great team around me, and like these Gorney and Paul, who I know will always do stuff for us there. Like we've got the Nindy Nation, Jeff, and we've got another podcast, Nintendo Nostalgia, with Ryan, Jacob, Josh, and there is a bunch of people there still. But like, Nintendo Village is growing on YouTube. The website does have views. Like, and somebody, I'm not going to mention names and stuff, because again, he's not a rivalry in the slightest. But a website that I've always looked up to posted their stats not too long back, and I was like, shit, we're doing better numbers, and we haven't posted for 3 months.
Yeah. It was
But
Paul, wasn't it? It was definitely Paul.
The growth was YouTube, right? Like,
Yeah.
that was the thing that worked like the most, and I think that was down to Phil. A lot of it, like I had the first couple of successes out the gate for the channel, and then Phil just took off. Like, he went from being a good content creator to being, holy shit, why is this guy less than 10,000 views?
Yeah.
Like 10,000 subs. Good. Like,
Yeah.
like how is he this small still? And he had a video that went mad, like 250,000 views, probably more than that now. It's probably like 1/3 views. And I was like, shit, like Phil is big time. Like, he really is.
It's
And
amazing that. Yeah. I was going to say, like, the feeling of seeing someone do that as well within your group is like, fucking hell. Do you remember the, we always rip Laurie for the tweets, but that tweet that Nintendo stole from Laurie, you know, where he put up on the, do you not remember about the tweet where he literally got millions of views on it, and it was the water in, Paper Mario. It was just like amazing water effects, and like Laurie, it just blew up overnight, and everyone was like, what the fuck is going on, Laurie? It was like, can't look at my phone, it just won't stop buzzing, like it's going off it. And it was just getting retweet after retweet and like after like, and it was like just on his own account, he was just going ballistic. And then Nintendo, about a week later, literally ripped off the same tweet. And we were just like, he's made it, he's like the best in the world at writing tweets, like they're so simple, they're so fucking awesome. But yeah, it's that kind of, it's bittersweet, because you're like, what do I need to do to be able to do that? And I think, mate, you probably got the qualities. In fact, you definitely have, in terms of the content I've seen and the production quality that you've got within it, and definitely the character.
I appreciate that. I always have that feeling that, and I don't know if you relate to this, because I know a lot of people do have this feeling, but I always have the feeling that, like, as soon as I put something out, I was like, well, that's going to die. Like, that's terrible. Like, and you watch it back and you're like, you're such a cringy God. Why would anybody watch this? Like, I always have that self doubt, like really bad, that like everything that I create or do just isn't good.
No, completely agree. Yeah.
And like, I think if I could say any inspirational thing to anybody, right, which is something that took me years to get over, is to just put it out. Right, just be happy. Stop fiddling with stuff, and just put the content out, whatever it is. Right, you can make a piece of music, you can just program drums, and you can tweak a cymbal for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, because you've made the track and you can hear it, and then everybody else on the planet will never hear the difference. Yeah, that's the best way I can think of saying it, because I've done that. I was making drum and bass music for a while, and like I was obsessing over the smallest little noises in the tracks, and then like you take the track that you've done months down the line, and you'd be like, the original track, and you'd be like, listen to these, look how much better it is, and they're like, is it the same song?
Yeah. And in that time, you've like grown a beard, like you've aged
Yeah,
terribly. You're like, what the fuck's gone on here? Like, why is nobody respecting this tune? The
yeah,
cymbals in this tune. No, I was the
yeah.
same. I was in bands like when I was a younger man, and I'd like write songs, and I was never happy with the songs. And the
Mhm.
rest of the bandmates, Pete included, were always just like, got a great setup here. Let's just like not tour, but fucking let's just go around all the clubs that we've got and just play these songs, get really good at them. And I was like, nope, not going to do that. Like, we need to write better songs than this. This is how it works. These are good songs, but we can be better. So we'll take parts from this song. There'll be a riff in it like we like, but we'll move that into a new. And I just
Yeah,
tinker. And I think even
yeah.
now to this day, it's still like the downfall. Whether it's like graphics or whether it's podcasting or formats or Ben, if he's watching, logos. Like I will tinker until I am just dead. It's just the way I'm built.
I love the fact that me and you are the same in this
Yeah.
respect as well, because like I'm like it with gear. Like
Yeah.
I've got literally what a lot of people would kill for streaming wise, and then I'm like, I don't want to stream anymore. I'm not good at it. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah. I'm same. Like literally, what did I take a video of and send it to you on Twitter just before we started?
Yeah,
Tiny little
it's
spider.
a spider climbing
Yeah.
across the screen.
Yeah, and because I haven't done anything with this in that long, that literally it's starting to get spiders in it, which is even more of a concern. So it's just
Yeah,
it's fucking funny, mate. It's so funny. Like in terms of being similar as well in this fashion, like the energy to do it and trying to find the motivation to be able to get your ass and do it. That's why I've got so much respect for the people that just pump content out. We alluded to Bobby before. Loads of the guys in our group that like work for multiple different places. You said Nate, great example. Even like when Ben's on form, like Ben will pump out maybe like 4 or 5 bits of content, and you go, fucking hell, like
yeah.
it's amazing. Even the rap that he did for us like years ago, I go
I
like
remember that. Yeah,
mate, that should have got thousands of views based on how
yeah.
good it was and like the content in it. But yeah, it's this weird kind of position of like, I wish I could do it. I've got all the gear to do it, got the technical nous to do it, just haven't got the energy or the motivation to.
And what
So
what I will say to people as well, right, and like is if anybody's ever thinking of doing anything creative wise on the internet, is 5 years ago you watched YouTube, watch the videos that you watched 5 years ago,
mm,
because I did this when Bobby passed away, right? I went back and watched his whole old videos where I think YouTube pushed one of his videos to me randomly, and that's how I started watching him. And uh, I don't mean to be disrespectful when I say this, but he would have said the same thing. His quality was shit. Like he had a terrible camera, his audio was bad, his angles was bad, he had no lighting and stuff like that. And I watched every single one of his videos and never once questioned it.
mm.
Right. And I think that I am a self-confessed all gear no idea sort of guy. Like I'll buy stuff just for the sake of it being really nice, and then when I've got it, I'm like, but it doesn't make me a better content creator. So just do it, just put stuff out. And like, I wish I could hear these words myself right now and get my ass into gear and start doing it right now. But the truth is like you're probably the same. Time is such an issue at the minute.
Yeah,
Like, and especially if you've got kids, right? Motivation, because like I was having a full on panic before we came live on this because I couldn't get my daughter down to sleep. She was just having one of
oh,
the days where she was wide awake. Her tooth fell out today at school, so she's like, "The tooth fairy's coming." Like, just get to sleep. Don't you know I
Dan's
want
gonna
to
be
drink
ready.
beer and talk to people on the internet?
You know what Daddy does. I think it's that, yeah. And I think I don't know about yourself, but like the pressure to be a decent parent is
Yeah,
something as well that I never really thought I'd have to combat with. It sounds really fucking horrible,
yeah,
that, but
yeah. No,
just even now, like I know we're having a couple of beers, chilling out, but I've had to be selective with it, and I haven't done
yeah,
this for a while, and I know tomorrow morning I'm going to be tired, so
yeah,
maybe I won't play in the same way, or won't be as like an active parent. But we say that, but we are. But you're conscious of it, and I think that's probably the one thing that I've kind of learned in the last year or so with Jesse coming of age, like he's 2.5 now. So you kind of get that presence of mind to be, I don't really want to take away from that family time because I really
hmm
value it.
yeah,
And then on top of that, yeah, man, if I don't go to bed by like 10:30, 11 most nights, I'm in work the next day, I just don't function right anymore. And it is because like the job's quite high pressured, and the shit that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis is non-stop. Which I think most people have to kind of like deal with.
and
So
between you and me, if I could give you any advice, don't play Minecraft.
Don't play Well, I'm going to play it now. And we're going to play
because
Fortnite at some
because
point.
you'll be up till 1 in the morning, like, oh god, I have
Yeah.
to work soon. But I just need more cobblestone.
I know. I was like this, but same as what we said about the comfort food phrase. And anyone from the cross players probably piss themselves at that because I literally say it every single time we podcast. But I've been playing FIFA. I was being
Yeah.
sat there with my ultimate team, not buying any packs this time, like I did about 5 years ago and spent about 400 quid, but just enjoying playing like the odd game or two while like Soph's having a bath and then I'll go and get a shower after and just like playing it for like 10, 15 minutes, chilling the fuck out, or maybe even a mobile game, you know, just kind of jumping on What's the Golf, like playing that for a little bit.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush, not as
Yeah.
much anymore, but yeah, I was heavy on Candy Crush for a while. But just trying to buy those minutes, you know, when you can kind of get your hobby in, but it's not Returnal for like an hour and a half, or it's not, you know, Minecraft.
I love that, like, every gamer for choice of word out there will be like, fuck mobile games, they're terrible. Who played this shit? And then you look at their phone, they've got like 17.
Yeah.
And like everybody, you know, everybody's played them. Everybody's played a Connect 4 game at some point and got addicted to it. Or even like if it's a full price game, like Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic, that was one for me. I brought that on mobile, couldn't get off it for ages.
You and Soph will absolutely get on because that is their favorite game, and it's
It's
literally
just,
that and Spyro 1, 2, and 3 are the only games I've ever played, by the way. But yeah, I mean, back on that point as well, like going back for that nostalgia hit or going back for the kind of game that you know is a little bit more throwaway. There's no shame in it at
no,
all.
no, not at all. So I've got to ask you the question then.
Oh, go on.
Ultimate comfort food games through the ages. Like, you know, right now, if you go back and you've got all your consoles that you've ever had, all the games that you've ever had, right? Would the games be that you'd get the most comfort from?
Still would be the Final Fantasies. Like genuinely would be like 7, 8, 9. Or in order of what I played, 8 and then 7, then 9.
Yeah.
100% because again, our generation, like you get a game at Christmas, your birthday, like maybe one other one if you were lucky at another point in the year. Easter, weirdly, you get like a 20 quid note or something from your nan. I don't know why, instead of chocolate. Even though I was a fat child, so that would make sense why she gave me money instead.
Love
R.I.P.
it.
Nan, love you to bits. But yeah,
Oh.
you get that game, and then you would play that game non-stop, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And you play it over and over again. You kind of like try it. Like the Final Fantasy games were that. The music, the way that they played, the content within it, the fact I had the guides for it. Remember sending, I think it was Steve, like the Final Fantasy 7 guide that I had. And mate, it was like a fucking porn mag. Like some of the pages were stuck together with food. It was frayed along the sides. Like, it was just ruined. It was just a horrible, horrible, horrible content. But yeah, that's probably what I remember. Other than that, I think it was, what was the name of the Mario one? Was it the coins on the
Six
Game
golden
Boy?
coins.
Yeah.
I haven't been playing that on emulator at all.
Have you
Dan.
not? No. But
No,
those two
no.
games, yeah, man, like stuff like that. That was comfort food. Like Cool Spot on the SNES. Talk about that quite a bit. I wasn't a Zelda guy when I was
Odd
younger.
choice, but I'll go with that. I will
Hey, it
go
was,
with Cool Spot.
mate, you know, Richard Branson's done some negative things in his time, but if he licensed the game like Cool Spot, he can't be that bad.
Genius.
Ingenious. But yeah, I think it's stuff like that. Even back to like Commodore, there was like a Ghostbusters game on it. And it was fucking weird. Ecto 1 wasn't Ecto 1, it was just this weird little car.
Commodore, man, Commodore, I'm amazed because we're the same age, right?
Yeah.
My first console was Commodore 64.
Yeah, man was. Yeah.
My I remember the game that we had. We had Thomas the Tank.
I didn't have Thomas the Tank.
Where you just had to avoid trains on the track. I think
Right,
they
okay.
brought that for me. Rainbow Island.
Nice.
And Fiendish Freddy's Big Topo Fun.
I don't remember that one.
Which is a game about you have to save the circus because they're going to destroy it and put a mall on it. So you have to do classic things like juggle chainsaws and babies at the same time.
Okay, yeah, that's sensible.
Just your standard game that would not ever get created now.
Well, I had Bionic Granny, and I'd implore anyone in the chat right now just to go on YouTube and try and find like a clip of this. And you played a granny that was bionic, and she was just beating the shit out of kids and killing them.
See, gamers these days with their Skyrims, they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like typically do that in the GTA fucking engine, and it'd be rated. Rated. You wouldn't be able to buy that in Australia. Put it that way.
I think that for me, like comfort food, really is Link's Awakening. Like it
Yeah,
always
you
has
said that.
been. Like I honestly, it was when it got re-released for the Switch, and like I was like, man, I was in that camp of, this looks goddamn beautiful. Like
Yeah.
this looks so nice, and the fact that it was almost recreated perfectly. Like
Mm,
just if they just put the D-pad in, it'd have been great.
mm.
Um, but um I was almost at tears when I got all the instruments and woke the Windfish up. I was like, I remember doing this as a little boy in Blackpool on a trip.
It's weird that feeling though, isn't it? Like when you get
Yeah,
that, you get it from remasters, like because I got it with the Final Fantasy VII remake when like some of the battle music started kicking in,
yeah,
and it just I
yeah,
did not expect it. And normally I'm relatively stoic with stuff like that. Like nostalgia doesn't really do it for me. Like I'm not melancholic. Like it was just it hit me like a fucking wave. And so it's
yeah.
like, why are
And
you crying? And why is there a woman on that TV with giant tits? I was just like, it's not her. It's just the music. I can't help. She was like, you disgust me. Uh, yeah,
I mean, Final Fantasy VII is also comfort food for me. Like
yeah,
it was, that was I would say, I obsessed with Sonic as a kid, but that was the first like. I don't mean this to sound as bad as it's going to be, but it is like grown up game that I
yeah.
played, like where you had to really read and really get invested into it, and you couldn't just pick up a controller and press A. Uh, and I remember as a kid finishing it, I was like, "You are the best gamer that has ever been. You are number one." And then the internet happened. But like, I remember watching Advent Children and
Yeah.
hearing the battle music. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh.
Why is this happening to me? I know this is so beautiful.
But the man child, it's
But
coming.
but did you get a golden chocobo?
Yes,
Ah,
I wiped out Final Fantasy VII as a kid. I did everything that I could. I beat the underwater weapon, the ruby emerald weapon. I did the gold chocobo. I got the Knights of the Round. I maxed every single character up to level 99 because I didn't have any other games.
yeah, exactly the same.
Yep.
I think
And
I had
then
that and the Die Hard trilogy game, and that was
yeah, did
wank.
you have the light gun
Yes, I feel
as
like
well? That was brilliant. I miss light gun games.
proper
But
Tory
like
child with little light gun, like going pew 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 around the house, thinking I was gatting people. Not great.
it's so good, isn't it? Like
Mm.
for me, yeah, I think for comfort food, Link's Awakening, Mario and the Six Golden Coins. I've actually been playing that on Android. I brought the Xbox controller for Android just to hold my phone on and play
Okay.
Game Boy games because why would you stream games to your mobile phone? I have no idea, but it's a great controller for emulating. Um, and then Final Fantasy Ocarina of Time is always one,
Mm.
always has been, and Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah.
Like and Transport Tycoon. Transport Tycoon doesn't get re-released now. Like there's some fan made thing of it, but like Roller Coaster Tycoon is just one of those things where like even if you finished an objective on it, you just carry on and build the best theme park that you can make.
Dungeon
And you
Keeper was
just
mine of those games. Bullfrog were just like on another level when it came to.
yeah.
Was it Peter Molyneux who was Bullfrog?
I
I think he
think it
was.
was, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like Bullfrog did theme park as well, right? And
Yeah.
like theme
Theme
park was one of
Park,
those
Theme Park
games which
Hospital.
like that led the way to Roller Coaster Tycoon,
Yeah.
and Roller Coaster Tycoon was one that nailed it. But I had theme park on the Mega Drive, and like I just remember like just constantly building and building and building. Maybe that's why I like Minecraft so much, you know.
Remember with Dungeon Keeper, there was one of like the creatures, and it was like this S and M fucking witch, and she was people are screaming. She like run into battle with like a whip, and my mum just like staring over my shoulder and being like, "What have we bought this child? Why is he like this?" Which like seems to be a persistent theme in my life when it comes to gaming and like the embarrassment. I'm starting to sound like Lewis here whenever he gets criticism all the time internally from the weeb shit that he tries to avoid because he's just petrified of people looking over his shoulder and seeing what he's playing.
I mean,
Polar opposite, other people in our group are just like, nah, fuck it. Like, why not? Yeah.
I remember my younger brother. He was only probably I want to say about 9. And my elder brother brought him a game for his birthday. He's like, he's got a cute red squirrel on it. It's obviously a kid's game. No, it was Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Jokes on him.
And watching the sheer horror of my mum's face on that opening cutscene when he comes out the pub and like everybody's puking
Oh,
up and he's like, "Ugh," and he's completely pissed up and can't find his way home. Is a feeling that I'll never get again. And
but they're the
it's just
things from like when we were kids. I think we're more savvy as a generation because of all that shit. But my nan bought me GTA 3.
yeah.
And how old would we have been when that came out? Because it must have been like 12, 13.
Yeah, I think it was just at the start of secondary school, right? I think.
Yeah, and you're just killing
Yeah.
prostitutes to get money. And it's like, all right, this game then got slandered in the media for that kind of stuff. Didn't
Yeah.
see me doing that.
Yeah.
Not in the public eye.
But
Uh,
realistically, Dan, we know that you were trying to just drive a car correctly around the streets and stopping at the stop signs, right? Because we've all done that in GTA.
oh, no, we all do it. Yeah.
Anybody who says they hasn't, you're a goddamn listen to me. Goddamn liar.
There's one of the 9 viewers at the moment just went, oh, he's on to me.
Like Gorney was there, like, shit, he's on to me.
Well, then, how's the beer going then? Is it getting any better as you're drinking more of it? Or?
Not at all. Not at all.
I want to
Um,
talk to you. I was going to talk to you quick about the music that you chose because you
oh
were
yeah,
embarrassed
okay, yeah,
about it
let's do it.
first. Yeah, you're embarrassed about it first. So, like,
Uh,
we'll touch on the songs. Then I want you to kind of tell me growing up, like, what the Birmingham scene was like because it seems infinitely different to what the Liverpool scene was. But you picked the Offspring, All I Want. You had the Clash, Rock the Casbah. No Doubt, Spiderwebs, you had Dream Car, Kill for Candy, and we're going to finish a little bit later on at the drive-in as well. Like, music, big part of your life growing up, or what was the crack?
okay, massive. Right, I'm gonna just start with the embarrassed part, right? Because I have such a range in taste of music, right?
Because you're
And
interesting, that's why, basically.
and
Like,
I've seen Right Said Fred.
okay.
Um, I've seen
Aren't they
Wet
like
Wet
shit
Wet.
houses now? They are, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're absolute knobheads.
They are.
Let's not go there. Get blocked by them on Twitter. It's great. Um, um, I've seen Wet Wet Wet. I've seen Craig David. I've seen Liberty X. I've seen the Vamps. I've seen the Wanted. I've seen Slayer. I've seen Kiss. I've seen Linkin Park. I've seen Lost Prophets, but let's not go there either. Uh, I've seen a lot of bands. Like I've seen a big range of music. I just love music, right?
Mm.
And the funny thing is like I talked a little bit earlier about creating music. I'm shit at that, but I enjoy it, right? So I'm gonna start with this thing here, right? Because
Go
this
on.
is the guitar, right? With a broken string. It's been broke for about 10 years.
Nice.
But that's
SG?
a Noodles signature model from the Offspring.
Fucking hell. Is it an SG?
No, it's a Noodles one.
Oh, shit. Right,
Ibanez.
okay.
It's made of duct tape. So if people want to see, it's duct tape there. Look, and
That's
just
a
to prove
beaut,
it's a
isn't it?
Noodles one, it's even got the little logo on the back.
Oh, shit, yeah.
But the Offspring were the first real band that I absolutely fell in love with. Like I liked music before that point because I mean, how could you avoid Spice Girls? But like yeah, they were the first band that I really heard and thought, this is me. Like
Yeah.
this is everything. Like it's chaotic, it's upbeat, it's hyper, it's it's a little bit rebellious, but in a jokey way. You know, it's sarcastic. Like everything about it sort of hit me right with it really. And I fell in love with Ixnay and the Hombre, which is somebody. It was a friend of a friend. Actually, just lent me the album. Like he heard me singing the Offspring one day, and he's like, "Yeah, you've got any albums?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, just lend this for a bit." Like, and I literally just had it on repeat non-stop for the longest time. And all I want
Yeah.
was a single off it. It's a song that everybody knows because of Crazy Taxi now, but like,
Yeah.
it's just one of those. I still love them to this day. Like they've just released a new album. Um, I've enjoyed every album that they've done. Like, and I don't know. I feel like they were the band that ultimately summed me up as a person. Like, and I probably still do think that as well. Like, a lot of the way they joke around in their lyrics and stuff, the way that they've got a bit of variety. They do like ska, some pop songs, everybody's heard "Pretty Fly for a White Guy." It's a pop song, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think there's any shame in
Definitely.
saying that. And then they've got fast punk songs, and they just yeah they just became my life for a good chunk. And then from that, I started branching out a bit. I started
Mm.
realizing that like the scene in between my friend circle was very much emo, right
Okay, yeah.
around that that sort of phase, and there's a lot of indie stuff as well.
Mm.
And I did dabble in a bit of both. I didn't go too heavy on the screamy emo side. That wasn't really my cup of tea. But everybody went there with Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and Korn and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
And I very much stuck more to the punk side.
Yeah. So I was really into punk, mainly because Pete was. So like I borrowed quite a lot of his albums and then scratched them profusely. Sorry, Pete. But it was like Rise Against, Billy Talent,
Yeah,
um, literally going from that to The Offspring, like over to Blink, like just the kind of click of it, and then dabbling kind of my own shit into like Papa Roach, which probably
yeah,
was just on the precipice then of the emo, and then I went full emo. It was like fucking My Chemical Romance, like going down like the Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy. So I kind of like veered off in that direction, and then kind of came back to the heavier shit with like Queens of Stone Age, like absolute power through that, and then getting into things like Rage, where I was just like a
yeah,
little bit more eclectic kind of heavy rock. So I've
yeah,
always been I just love a riff, absolutely love a hook, and the way that kind of feeling that you'll get if you hear something either for the first time or for the 100th, where you're like, this part that's coming up in this song. I mean, the first one that kind of comes, I think it's Spiders by System of a Down, and
yeah.
there's or it might be War, but there's like a little interlude part, and even to this day, like I'll get that shiver down the back of my neck, thinking, "Fuck! If I was to play that in front of a load of people, how would that feel?"
Yeah.
But it's weird that you go on to drum and bass as well, because I was the same. I went quite electronic because I was like that euphoric feeling of having maybe like 100 people. So I started DJing quite a bit when I was younger, but like having 100 people in front of you, all buzzing off a song that you're playing, that or maybe that you've created, like that was fucking cool.
I mean, yeah, it's weird that like I mean, I've literally got stuff from like classical to pop to electronic to pretty much everything, right?
Yeah.
There's no sort of genre that's safe from me in a way. Um, but like what happened with me was I tell you what, I've got a load of stories in my head all at once. Let's just get them out of the way in quick fire succession, right? But one
Hey,
regret is
fucking
that
take
I
your time,
did.
mate. I've still got half a beer here, so I'm chilling. It's cool.
Well, one regret is that I didn't just embrace the email phase that
Mm.
much because I don't know if I was just being rebellious against myself and I was like, I fucking hate this music.
Yeah.
But in reality, I'd find
Which you
myself
do when
being
you're
at home
younger.
singing Fall Out Boy and I'd be like, maybe I should just. No, no, I'm much cooler than that. And like now I look back at it and I was like, why didn't I just go out and have fun with that sort of stuff? Right?
Hey,
Why
mate,
did I?
I know. I know.
Yeah. So like, uh, but my music taste around that time, I stemmed off the Offspring. So what happened was, I walked into HMV one day and saw this compilation called "Go Ahead Punk, Make My Day," and I remember seeing the front cover and just thinking, this looked awesome. It got a cowboy on it, and I looked at the back. I was like, oh shit, the Offspring's on it. No way. And then I brought that, and then I found Guttermouth, Bad Religion, the Vandals, and like the Vandals, I couldn't stop listening to,
Yeah.
and then like I ended up reading the books that came with CDs, and I was like, oh, the Offspring like TSOL, I'll listen to those. Oh, they
Yeah.
like the Sex Pistols, I'll listen to those. The Cure, and then it just eventually just grew and grew, and like
Mm.
I started branching out. Like I listened to the Cure, I was like, oh, the Clash, oh, Morrissey, oh, the Smiths, oh, I like this now. The Pet Shop Boys, yeah, okay. Depeche Mode, yeah, go ahead then. Like, and it really branched out, and but the punk stuff was still there, and like I think that nothing summed up Britishness and like being it like in that rebellious era of like school, just leaving school, more than punk as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
So like the Sex Pistols really rang out then as well, and that's why that was one of my choices of songs out of the stuff that you give me. Like is the Sex Pistols or the Clash. And so, like, both of those equally, like, such a hard decision. And people ask you what's better, the Clash or the Sex Pistols. They're like the same. It's like Blur and Pulp. They're the same to me.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like the fucking Beatles and Stones, isn't it? It's like, how do you decide on something like that? It's fucking hard.
so like the Clash and the Sex Pistols really became something that I was listening to a lot. And I just remember that like I embraced it a little bit too much. I had a mohawk. I had like I had a
Cool.
t-shirt with like one arm off and the other one lung. I had leopard print shoes and like I got pissed off with people touching my mohawk, so I shaved it off.
Nice.
But like I remember going out and like looking at my, no, I must have not even looked in the mirror, never seen what I looked like, and I was like, I put glow in the dark gel in my hair, so like when I went there, it was like blue, green, red, like glow in the dark, like mohawk, and I just, I must have stuck out like a sore thumb because everybody else there with eyeliner on and black fringes. And then here's this guy with a light up green mohawk and a white t-shirt with "God Save the Queen" written on.
Yeah, thinking that you're fucking Travis Barker, like bouncing around with it. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's literally
Yeah,
probably what I was closer to, where everybody else was more like Good Charlotte.
yeah.
Uh,
I was the same, mate. I was where I was bouncing around with blue hair, and I had a Tracy McGrady, if anybody knows basketball in the day. But I had a Tracy McGrady like t-shirt on, and that was my kind of look in sixth form. And I was like, yeah, it's because I'm into a bit of rap, I'm into a bit of rock. You can't put me in a box. No one can put me in a box. I was like, you can, Dan. You can put me in a box as just a teenage boy. That's pretty much it.
yeah,
It was absolutely fine. But yeah, I think like having an eclectic taste in music, like you tend to find like the people that are boring are the ones that are like literally middle of the road. I only like X, Y, and Z. It's just like,
yeah.
fucking hell. Yeah, I don't really vibe with people like that just because you can't find common ground in like
Yeah.
liking different things. And I think
I mean,
back on
it's
like
always
creative point.
amazing when you mention an obscure band and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know them," and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you just instantly feel like more attached to people when that happens. Where if it's like you meet somebody and they just go, "I like Iron Maiden,"
Yeah.
you're like, there's nothing against Iron Maiden, but like everybody likes Iron Maiden. Like
Yeah, what's there not to
it's
like
no
about it?
surprise. Like it's just what it's going to be Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, and that's it. Like
Mm,
I think that I like to have a broad mind with everything, pretty much.
mm.
And which brings me on to one of my other choices, actually, which was No Doubt,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Bit of
uh,
Gwen.
yeah, I remember that I was later to No Doubt. I think they'd released Hella Good at the time where I started liking them. So it's 2001, 2002 ish.
Yeah, a bit later.
Um, and I remember they were the first female fronted band that I was like,
Mm,
why aren't there more women in rock?
yeah.
Completely not realizing that the 90s was just fucking overloaded with women in rock.
And that
But
and that Blondie had existed probably like 20 years
yeah,
before that and just fucking pioneered everything.
but
Yeah,
like I'd always heard women in rock, but they were the first band that I was like, these are fucking incredible.
yeah,
And they weren't straight rock. They were doing pop songs and
yeah, yeah.
like R&B songs and like, and then you all of a sudden you hear their older stuff and it's all ska, like just plain ska, like with no other nothing else to it, it's just ska. And I just remember like being quite addicted to it just because it was different compared to the other stuff I was listening to at the time. And it's always kind of strange that like it always almost feels like such a given now that you have such a variety of artists
Yeah.
for different backgrounds and stuff. And like I do think that that's one good thing in a way that music's progressed, but there's a lot of negatives, which is just to do with basically the more commercially it gets every year and stuff like that. But like I just remember just No Doubt just being like the band of the summer for me.
Mm.
Like Just a Girl was a tune that men were singing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? At that time where you would be embarrassed for stuff like that, like as a kid in school or just leaving school, whatever.
Mm.
And yeah, I really liked them. And then I found at the drive-in, which is one of my probably one of the bands I listen to the most still.
Yeah.
Um, they had such an aggression that I think that people need. Like everybody needs something aggressive in music at some point, but they did it in a way that I felt like was different. Like it
Mm.
wasn't just like drop tuning the guitar and hammering
Or
open
D, yeah.
strings with a palm mute on. It was more of a sort of chaotic heavy.
Mm.
Uh, you'd have melodic melodies instantly by an out of tune scream right next to it and stuff like that. And like I just remember in a weird way, like they were one of the first bands where I needed a thesaurus to understand what the hell they were on about. You had to decode the lyrics because they're cryptic, and it's that was the start of my deep dive in music. Like it was when I realized that things weren't just about like straightforward everyday life, and that people actually had a voice to like talk about like I don't know anything from like abductions in the deserts, from drug cartels to like mass graves from war and stuff like that. And it was the same sort of time I was listening to System of a Down as well, which
Yeah.
which covered a lot of that sort of stuff as well. But I think the difference is like they were a band that was aggressive and heavy in a different way. I think that's why I gelled to them so much.
Yeah.
And I eventually got to see them live after they broke up and stuff. And all I will say is that they are absolutely shit live, but it doesn't change a thing. They're still great.
So many
Um,
bands like that are shit live though. I remember like
yeah,
seeing was it? It was what was the name of the? I think it was just the Man City Stadium before they had the Etihad, I think. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers played it, and it was like
yeah,
I was fucking made up. I was going to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'd literally worshipped John Frusciante for like God knows how many years before it. We all our friendship group had all the albums. One of the lads was like, I think his parents were Tories and they were rich, but he had like the signature guitar, and like he was made. Flea was on the telly, and yeah, we were proper looking forward to it. James Brown fucking supported them, and he was like little diddly old man came out and then just did the splits and started fucking going for it. It's this amazingly cool gig, and they were shit. They were awful. I've never seen a band that I've watched and gone, I literally could have just put the album on, and it
yeah,
was just like that. I've seen them twice, and both times I was just like, Christ, that's absolute crap. Whereas like, I'd never really liked Rage Against the Machine until I saw them live, and System of a Down
yeah.
as well. When you see those bands live, I was like, Christ. But yeah, what was the first gig you went to? Mine was Feeder in the Royal Court in Liverpool.
I think if it's in terms of like gigs I actually wanted to go to, it would have probably been the Vandals. And I remember seeing
Okay.
them in this like really small like pub gig. But to
Yeah.
me, they were the biggest band on the planet at the time. Like they were a stadium filler band, and I got there
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, there's like 10 people here. Like,
What's happening? Yeah, this is
uh,
weird.
and it was again, there's always something amazing about seeing a band that are actually quite shit because as long as they put the passion into it, it doesn't matter.
No.
Like some of the best gigs I've ever been to were bands that played crap, and the Vandals were kind of in that ballpark because their audio setup was terrible. They were way too loud. The singer, like you couldn't hear him at all, but the audience were filling in the void. Like you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
hear everybody singing from the audience, and the gigs like that are always great. The little small sweaty gigs. That was the first time I saw a 40-year-old man's penis as well. But let's not get into that.
No, no, absolutely. Let's get into that. In fact,
Now, basically,
phrasing.
someone kegged the guitarist. He was stood up with one leg on the safety barrier doing a guitar solo, and then someone just decided, I'm
Fuck it
pulling his
off.
pants down.
Fair play. Some absolute enamoured fan. Thought, you know what? Let's have a look at it. Severely
So
disappointed. There's this deep sea fish that looks like it's eating itself. Stared back at them. Sorry, just like projected a bit then. I think what was I going to say then? In terms of like bands performing though, that perform shit purposefully were like the Libertines and stuff like that, and I'd seen them live. And I didn't get it at all. And I still to this day will look back at that gig and go, yeah, like they were just trashing the place. They were fucked. He was like clearly off his head on heroin.
yeah,
Pete Doherty, and you were like, Carl Barat as well, like wasn't there at all. And there was a band called Holloways that played before it, and they supported them. They were fucking phenomenal, and I was like, they were really really good. young lads bouncing around the stage, playing really good tunes. But yeah, it's a little bit weird. But then, contrary to that, there's been bands like trying to think of the name of them now. What were they called? It'll come to me in a minute. They did a song called "We Are Rock Stars." I'm gonna have to very very quickly search for that because otherwise it will rack my brain and I will cry. We Are Rock Stars. Sorry, anyone listening to the audio, just literally killing you. Does it offend you? Yeah. Does it offend you? Yeah. So I saw them live, and it was what you were saying, where they were like this really boisterous, kind of angsty, electro kind of heavy rock, and I was just like, this is fucking phenomenal. This is really good. So yeah.
I mean, when I saw at the drive-in, they were so bad. Like, I'm fairly sure that you could have just picked 5 random people off the street and say, play something in C minor, and they would have probably done a better job. And they supported Royal Blood.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I paid to go see Royal Blood as a headliner just to see at the drive-in support. I had really heard of Royal Blood. I'd heard 1 or 2 songs on the radio. And the drive-in was so chaotic, and the crowd just like wasn't the crowd for it at all.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed myself. We were supposed to be sat down, but like I was standing up, like flaunting around, screaming at the top of my lungs, and like everybody else was like, I don't know who these losers are jumping around on stage. And then I really enjoyed Royal Blood, and that I think that was the thing that shocked me the most, because when they were on the radio, I was like, they're okay. And they were really good. They played really well. They're really professional. It was their biggest gig that they had ever played.
Yeah.
And I just happened to be at that one, and it was just good. It was a really good night.
You ever heard
But
of a band called Death from Above 1979?
yes, because you sent them me.
I did send you them. Yeah,
You
yeah.
did.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but they're really, really similar. They're a 2-piece
Yeah,
as well.
they are. Yeah.
And they're just
But
fucking horrendously good. They're ridiculous. So
the last choice on my list
yeah.
is actually No Doubt again. Believe it or
Okay.
not, Dream Car. It's the band from No Doubt with the singer from AFI, basically.
Oh shit, right, I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
And the reason I picked them wasn't because I actually didn't get to them through No Doubt, which you might think of because that was one of my other choices. It was actually because of AFI, because they were another post-hardcore heavy band that I really liked. They were, they did an whole album. It was a bit of a concept album about like what it's like to be stuck in purgatory and to have regrets in life and stuff like that. And I didn't like their later stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's because the evolution of rock sort of died out. Like, rock's been getting worse and worse through the years, and I don't think that's just my opinion. You turn on Kerrang now, and it's still Papa Roach, it's still Linkin Park, it's still Audio Slave, it's still all the stuff that was on when I was in school, plus a couple of other tracks.
Do you
But
think that's because it was pop back then? Because it was popular?
yeah,
And
'cause
Kerrang
it
was so on vogue.
yeah.
Like, I remember having that on non-stop, literally watching it all the time. But it's not popular at the
Yeah.
moment. I think rap, well, some parts are rap, and then it's like a load of
Yeah,
like sub kind of genres. There's more poppy now and more. Yeah, it doesn't seem that there's a lot of legit bands out there these days.
I mean, the bands like all that sort of stuff, System of a Down and Linkin Park and Biscuit stuff, they are the new Led Zeppelin. They are the new Rolling Stones, right? They are the
Yeah.
bands that your kids will go, oh, my dad's so old fashioned. Listen to the shit that, look, oh God, listen, oh. But like, yeah, that'll be when it comes around again. It'll be when our kids are in their like, 14, 15-ish will be the other rise of rock, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Really, it's because it's not popular anymore. So obviously, the record companies aren't going to pick up bands. They're not going to pay for them to have music videos and promotion and stuff when it's not popular, right? That's just the way it is. But the reason why I picked Dream Car was because they are, in my opinion, the best example of what old bands can do when they reform with a bit of new ideas, a bit of new thinking. And it's not in the way that they've done anything groundbreaking, because what they've actually done is played music that's even older than them.
Yeah.
They're playing stuff like the Smiths,
Right. Okay.
and like new romantic sort of stuff and synthwave and that sort of stuff. But they just have a nice sound because of that, because they're not trying to be the most unique, or they're not trying to be like the most inventive or keeping up with the Joneses and
Mm.
keeping up with the charts and stuff like that. And they just had a really nice sound to them. I just thought that it was one of the best albums of the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Mm.
And just sort of became one of the albums that I listened to a lot. Like, if you haven't heard of them, if anybody's listening who hasn't heard of them,
Mm.
I can completely see why, because they slipped under my radar, and I like No Doubt and I like AFI, and they still slipped past me for 2 years. But give them a listen. I think they're worth it.
Yeah, I think I definitely will. Because like I said, completely with you on No Doubt, and I think the old kind of like ska version of No Doubt was something I was really, really into. I know this
Yeah.
will probably be infinitely different based on what you said and the premise of it being a bit more Smithsy and that kind of stuff, but yeah, man, like just I know we're talking nostalgia, but Goldfinger came to my brain there, and like
Yeah.
Bowling for Soup, No FX. Like man, this literally when you think about it, the music that we had growing up, like the options within punk and the options within that kind of ska area, like it was literally we were saturated with it, spoiled rotten. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Definitely. Yeah.
So kind of like obviously we'll lead out because I'm conscious of time and that we're both parents, so I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
be up
Plus,
early in the morning.
I've got a belly full of 4 cans, so we have to run to the toilet at some
Well,
point.
you need to have a fight now, don't you, at some point? So it's fine. But what's like next for you, mate? In terms of like what you have you got a fire in you at the moment for any particular type of content? Are you still kind of trying to find your way of where you want to go with everything next? What's like the next steps for Gary?
I like to think I'm at that junction of something coming, but I don't know what.
Hmm.
I think that like Nintendo Village is and was my baby, and like I think that I'm gonna continue with that. But the truth is, at the minute, is that being a one. I mean, you'll relate to this completely.
Yeah.
Focusing on one brand of gaming,
Hmm.
one niche of gaming is tough, especially when you lose a spark for that one brand.
Yeah.
And I'm going through that at the minute, right? I've actually, you know what? I'm going to show you this because,
Oh, hello.
right,
Ooh.
that came out
Sexy.
2 weeks ago. My old Switch was a bit battered. Just shot a video about this. It'll be coming out soon. But
Cool.
that's reignited some spark, but
Hmm.
not in the same way that like constant content creating can. And I think that like we are 4 years into the Switch. We're a year off it being dead if it dies at the same rate that the Wii U did.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going through a very boring phase with the Switch at the minute and Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'm fairly sure a lot of people will disagree, but I think that other than Monster Hunter, there's nothing that's really called to me for the last. I don't know how long. I picked new Pokemon Snap up. It's in the box.
Yeah.
My daughter's played it. I haven't. And I think that like that can be tough. So I can't do I'm going to do a video every single week. It's going to be Fridays. It's going to be amazing. Like Phil was really good at that, but like you have to have that realization that like I'm not Phil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can't. He was so imaginative with his ideas, and like he always managed to find something out the ground. And like I struggle like really bad. And I think that I will continue Nintendo Village. I just don't know if I can keep up the same momentum. But I also feel like I never wanted to cover gaming in a way, and that I wanted to do comedy at some point. And then I find myself not being that funny as well, which is another thing. Like, you know, when I was on about how you always find your own flaws and you're always never confident in what you put out and stuff. And I want to find a way to do something that's halfway in between or something different, you know, as well. And whether or not it's on the internet or not, whether or not it's chilling out and writing something else or doing some animation work like I used to and go back to that. I always feel like I'm trying to do something else all the time anyway, and it's just that like sometimes you can get convoluted and you can get confused in yourself on what you want to do. So I think that like the last couple of weeks and months, especially, I've had a bit of a reflection time, trying to find myself, my feet, and I think that like I feel like I'm at a crossroads now of like where do I want to go, because I don't think I can manage the website and YouTube at the same time efficiently at all. Like fair play to people who do that. Like people who upload on websites every day, you are something else. But yeah,
So
I feel like I'm just there.
I think so I kind of like say my 2 pence with it. Like, you've kept your head on your shoulders through a really fucking difficult time for a lot of people, and I'm one of these guys that will give advice, but because I've got like a weird, well, not weird voice, but like a weird disposition, I'm not the type of person that people tend to listen to from an advice perspective. But you've kept your head on your shoulders, you've raised a family, and by the sounds of it, an absolutely lovely little girl. Then on top of that, you've supported your mates doing well, and you've still come out the back end of that championing. I'll speak for a lot of the guys like in our group as well, and we were jealous of what you guys did. You were fucking fantastic, and that's you as well. We weren't just talking about filling this. And over the time that I've got to know you, like, I could genuinely see us being good mates, and I think we probably will be over the years. Like, I've got an awful lot of respect for you, Gary, and I think the way that you hold yourself, you probably need to give yourself a little bit more credit because, again, nothing's easy
No,
at
it's
all.
not.
And I don't just
Yeah.
mean because of a pandemic or the way things are going. Nothing is easy. Everything is tough. Everyone's going through their own things. Like we said, before, we wouldn't know that half of the people that we're mates with, because of the internet friend phenomenon, what they're having to deal with on a daily basis. Like, there's people in your friendship group, you're aware of their struggles. There's people in mine, and I'm aware of theirs. Like, but to be conscientious in the way that you are and rounded in the way that you are, I've got an awful lot of time and respect for that, and that's why I wanted to do this tonight with you as well. Because you would definitely one of the top people on the list, mate, in terms of sitting down and talking about what your experiences are, because I think we're fucking similar as well in a lot of the ways that we kind of doubt ourselves. And I'm kind of here, again, and I am relatively objective to it, but you should be fucking proud, mate. Really proud.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Like, I mean, it goes both ways, right? Because I mean, as we were doing our thing with the YouTube and stuff, we were looking at you guys growing on the podcast scene, and like me and Phil even said like that, damn, they've nailed the podcast stuff, and like. I mean, the guests you've had on and stuff is what you see a lot of people posting to like Pear and
Yeah.
Xeon and stuff, begging them to come on the shows, and they never do. And so like you guys created this amazing network of people as well. Like you really close knit community, and I think that like that's something that a lot of people always strive for but never get. And I just think it's great that like we're very different outlets in a way. Even when you were Switch Island and we obviously Nintendo Village, but like we were in the same alleys and yet completely different
Yeah.
goals and objectives. And I think it's great that like we managed to meet up as two different outlets at EGX and make this really stupid video together where we were like. I don't even know what I was in it, but
It worked, whatever it was.
But like, it's a testament to how I think that people should be online. Is like, yes, we can all have a little bit of jealousy streaks and stuff like that, but at the same time, I think that we should all sort of grow together and sort of expand and stuff. And like, yeah, you always need to see the hard work pays off, regardless of how envious or jealous you could be of people as well. And I think that's something that gets lost very easily online. It's like there is a lot of like, why the fuck does this guy have 8,000 subscribers on YouTube? He only posts indie games. It's like, yeah, but the guy's posting indie games every day, breaking his balls for it.
Yep.
Like that's yeah, can
And
you
then
do that? I can't do that.
Then they're being great parents, and then
Yeah.
they're being good partners, and they're doing the things that, like, we all know that's not a challenge, but it takes time. It takes effort.
Everything takes time, and like a lot of people sacrifice sleep, and sacrificing sleep is a bad thing. Listen, girls and boys out there, listen to your papa Gary here for a second, right? Don't lose sleep. It's bad, very bad. That's partly why I get in some mood sometimes is when I just haven't slept. Like I think that everybody needs that sort of mental reflection every once in a while of like, am I sleeping? Am I eating well? Am I exercising well? And like, I'm going through that again. Like I'm literally about to start working out again because I've lulled on that. And I think that like for people, content creators, especially to be able to do all this stuff and still raise families and, take some time for yourselves every once in a while.
Yeah. Completely, mate. Completely. I literally couldn't put it any better than myself, so I'm not even going to try. But Either way, like, hope we see you more. And like, I'm not just saying this, but if you ever want to make anything together, like, I'll be there for it. In terms of
Awesome,
like,
yeah.
even if there's a comedy element to something, I think that's just something that you and I have fucking got a stupid sense of humor over.
Hey, next time we have one of these meetup fights, though, you're getting your ass kicked. You know that.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. We should do it. Get Triller involved. They're the ones that are organising all these fights. We'll do that. Get my
Yeah.
fat face punched in. I love it. So we're going to play out, mate. We're going to go for One Arm Scissor by At the Drive-In, which was
Yes,
your
please.
final pick of the song. Cheers, Fist, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been awesome. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Literally anytime. You name it.